really hear to what the fuck he really got to say.
Do you think he would do it?
No, he would never fucking do it.
I think
What's
he would
happening,
smoke.
Syatt? You finally recovered from your coma last night?
Oh my God, that was
What'd you eat
crazy.
when you leave here? You went and picked up food?
Yeah, we went and got a burrito, and then at like 1 in the morning we got a donut.
Just one donut?
Yeah.
Who goes and gets one donut?
No. We each got a couple.
Okay.
Yeah.
Three.
No.
Three.
No, we didn't get
That's
three.
like when people
You
go to
got
the
two.
bar for a drink.
Yeah, we each
Nobody
got two.
goes
'Cause
for
we
a
got
drink.
we each got two. We got 4 donuts.
You bad motherfucker.
Oh my God.
1 in the morning, you were that
But you
high.
give me like 400 milligrams.
Who gives a fuck? It's
and
Monday.
we smoked 2 joints.
Who cares? It's Monday.
I'm just saying. We were just sitting at home, and I was just stoned out. I was like, we have to go because we were
So
just
was
watching
I.
TV. It was great.
I had coffee.
That's all you had?
That's it. I had coffee and I had a fortune
you're better
cookie.
than I am.
There was a fucking
And a
fortune
fortune
and I had
cookie.
2 peaches.
All those
and
fortune cookies are good. They're sweet.
I had a fortune cookie, 2 peaches, and a package of 100-calorie almonds. That was my late night fucking snack.
Where do you
last
get one fortune cookie?
It was left over at the house from
Alright.
Chinese
Yeah, yeah.
food. What's up, Tait Fletcher,
How
you
you
bad
doing, brother?
motherfucker?
Good to see you, man.
Movie star, entrepreneur, weightlifter, jiu-jitsu technician.
You know, just trying to stay above water over here.
Tate,
It's awesome being in here, dude, and seeing this poster.
yeah.
That's awesome.
That's fucking crazy, Tate.
It's crazy.
That's crazy, Tate. That was 10 years ago.
I tell people about our
11
history,
years ago.
and like, oh, and then you met Joey. I go, no,
No.
man, Joey precedes everything.
No,
man.
Joey precedes everything with
It's a
Tate.
trip.
Tate brought me fucking a bottle of oxygen he got at Whole Foods for me.
Well, here's
like
the
liquid,
deal, yeah.
liquid oxygen.
Like
This one I was
chlorophyll.
400 pounds I was, Tate.
Dude, I go up the first time I see Joey. There's like, who was it? Tracy Morgan or something there, and you're sitting on the bench, and we're out in a prison yard at 7,000 feet altitude in New Mexico, and on the set of The Longest Yard, and fucking Joey's rapping the whole Ready to Die album to these guys, fucking smoking a Marlboro Light, and I'm like, he might die right now. Like, holy fuck. Yeah, he's like, yeah, maybe I'll go just do a little bump or get a number in the fucking shitter real quick or like what. And it was amazing. So that was my initiation kind of into it, and then always talking about jiu-jitsu and like, oh, I know, because all these, like, Bob Sapp was there, so Maurice Smith and then Ivan Saliveri were on set helping Bob for his fights because he was kind of in between, and like, yeah, jiu-jitsu and Eddie Bravo, and I'd always looked up to Eddie. I was like, no, like, I'm like, this is just one of these dudes talking about all this. And then I was like, he's not really like that kind of dude, though. I'm like, this is weird as fuck. And then when we moved out to LA on it, and then I just ended up by hook and crook kind of down at Eddie's. It was close to the little apartment I was renting in Thai Town. And fuck, man, in walks Joey one day. Hey, little brother. And then fucking everybody goes crazy. And I was like, God damn. Yeah, that preceded. That was before I met Joe.
I met his wife first. I met
year
Tate's
before I met
girlfriend
Joe.
first.
Were you
Yeah.
acting on the show or on the movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like a stand-in on it.
It's so
and then
crazy
no
because
part.
when you go to these places, like
So crazy.
I
You met Heather at the bar. At the
no,
Cowgirl.
I met Heather on the set.
Okay.
And she fucking gravitated to me because she was like, I gotta tell you something. I just heard your fucking accent. Just talk for 5 more minutes. Because her in-laws, her parents, her roots are from Brooklyn. So she's in fucking Santa Fe with, surrounded by Gentiles and people who wear sandals. She hears me talking and I'll never forget her face. Like, she was like, this motherfucker's bringing me back. So she came over, introduced herself, and right away said to me, you know there's a Dunkin' Donuts up the corner. Because that's it. That's how we bond. She's like, there's a Dunkin' Donuts up there. There's a place that makes pizza in Albuquerque. And she just started rattling
Yeah, she
off
got the shit dialed
the
in.
New York haunts, you know?
Yeah.
And then she's like, Tate. And then I remember I was in my trailer, and you guys came by.
Yeah.
I couldn't breathe. And in those days, when we first did The Longest Yard, the first week I didn't work.
That's crazy,
But
huh?
we were at a high school. Remember the first week we were at a
Oh,
high
on
school?
a football field there. Yeah.
On the football
Yeah,
field.
yeah.
Listen, bro, they wouldn't let me on the field. They gave me oxygen, and they assigned me this little Asian trainer. And all the Asian trainer would do is make me walk around the field with this oxygen in my mouth. It was hysterical. They were fucking paranoid as fuck I was going to die. So for the first week or two, all I did was like do this type of stuff with my hands, like little circles with an oxygen thing on. They're like, no, we don't want you doing much. We don't want
Were
you.
you feeling bad?
Do you know I couldn't bend over? Do you know that those scenes where you're supposed to put 2 fingers on the floor?
Yeah.
Like like a down lineman. I couldn't put my fingers on the floor. They had to put a fucking 4x4 under my feet, guys. That's how sad that was. That's a true story. They had to put a 4. I still see the kid, my double.
Yeah.
He's got stand up. I see him around town. I bump into him at the Improv.
Tell me his name.
You know, man, I forget. Nice kid, really.
Is he
nice.
at the store sometimes?
No, he's
Okay.
at the Improv. Like
Okay.
he does all the labs and shit.
Right.
I bump into him, and yeah, you know, I
Yeah,
still
of
talk
course.
to. I tell you who reached out to me after 9 years. I never heard from him again. Romanowski.
Really?
When the movie ended, months later, Romanowski sent me a box
Of
and it
muscle
had-
milk.
of all his protein.
Yeah, yeah,
Is
yeah.
muscle milk his?
That's his shit.
No, it's
That
not.
fool's papered up.
No, it's
Yeah,
not.
yeah.
Muscle milk
Yeah,
is him.
that's his shit.
He sent me the other shit, the shit for your brain that tastes like Tang.
Oh, okay. I don't
that
know.
you put it in water and you fucking. It was the first Alpha Brain.
Really?
That was the first shit
That's a smart guy, man.
that would send you. It was tasted like orange. So I'm like, if I drink this shit, I'll beat the blow.
Right.
I was doing it with blow.
Right.
I was drinking it.
Right.
I was doing
That's like
blow.
when you're like, oh, I'll do XC and vitamin C
Yeah.
or whatever. Like,
It was crazy, but he emailed me.
yeah.
To
What's
say
he up
hello. He didn't say much. I just want to say hello. Somebody mentioned your name. It's good that you're still out there
to? Does he
doing
live
it.
up in Colorado or something?
He didn't fucking say.
Huh.
Yeah. He teamed up with that doctor. Remember, he
So I
showed
thought
up with
he
a
was-
doctor.
He was really trying to do.
Dog,
some
he
things
showed up with his
the-
own fucking doctor, Dr. Nelson. And Dr. Nelson would touch you, would work by feel and
Yep.
shit like that. The first time Dr. Nelson, I came in before they put the shoulder pads on me, and Dr. Nelson goes, lay down. I'll never forget this, guys. And I laid down, and he touched my back. And he goes, what time did you do your last line?
What?
And I said, about 4, but don't say nothing. And he goes, I'm not going to say nothing. He goes, but you got to get this shit out of your body. And he started talking to me. He's the first guy that knew on the set that I had a drug problem. Little by little, him and I were
Were you
talking
shaking
about
or
it.
something?
No, he just knew. I had done it like 3 days earlier.
It's so crazy.
I had gotten high like on a Friday. This is when we were up here in Paramount
Okay.
because he didn't show up down in Santa Fe. I don't remember him in Santa Fe.
Down south at that football field down there.
Right,
And
right.
when homeboy ran off and holed up in a hotel for
Michael
a few days.
Irvin. Oh my God. You know, well, the problem with those movies is you have too many personalities.
There's a lot there.
That movie had too many personalities and too many people that had demands.
Yeah.
Nelly was cool as shit.
Super cool.
Super cool, but like Irvin had to leave.
Yep.
You know, there was somebody else that had to keep leaving. The Japs came and got Bob Sapp. Tell that story. When the
and
Yakuza came and got Bob Sapp. Listen to me. He kept saying, I have to go to Japan to take contractual obligations. And Adam and DiBernardi kept saying, no. You can't leave.
Right.
We have you here. One day you heard click, 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 click. It was 2 Japanese dudes with a suit with the fucking wooden shoes. When they show up with wooden shoes, those clog fucking things, they're not fucking around. They had a cigarette with the stick. They had 2 cigarettes with those sticks. They were both smoking. It was 2 of them. And they came onto the set and they started talking. And next thing you know, Bob Sapp was going to wherever the fuck he was going.
That's a shady business.
That's a shade. That's when they was fighting. Yeah, that was shady. They came in and said, he's going today. He kept fucking around. They kept fucking around with his contract. 2 more weeks.
Dude, he got into shit later too. Like he was in, I think he was in Denmark maybe, and the Japanese and I think the Russians got involved also, but they came up and he was gonna fight somebody, Bojanski or somebody that was kind of a killer and in kickboxing in K1, and he was gonna get $1 million or something for it, and they go, okay, you fight tonight, and no pay though. That will pay your taxes because they hadn't paid any taxes on anything of his. And he's like, fuck that. I'm not going to fight and not get paid for this. And they said, yeah, that's what you're doing. And then it got more insistent. Yeah, no, you're doing that. He got in a car. He said there's a high-speed chase all through the hills and shit. Getting out, he had to escape from these motherfuckers and get to the airport and get the fuck out.
They came and
They'll
got
put
him
you
at
in
the
a
airport,
bag.
dog. They came and got him. The people who owned Pride,
Yep.
whatever the fuck they weren't fucking around.
No.
That's the first time I seen all that shit. But New Mexico,
Wearing the wooden shoes?
when
That's
they have
scary as
wooden
fuck.
shoes, they had wooden shoes. They had high-tailored suits on,
Yeah.
but they had those shoes that click. When you have those shoes that click, you ain't fucking around.
I can't believe Bob Sapp was scared of anybody. Like, I'm just thinking of how big he
Well,
was.
just imagine that.
and two little Japanese guys are like, he's coming.
Imagine the kind of weight a dude carries when a 400-pound, muscle-bound killer like Bob Sapp is like, no, okay, I'll go."
I'm coming.
That he's seen
Well, he had a
he's seen
house
the
in
weight
Japan.
of
He had
their-
people in Japan. They would have fucking slaughtered everybody.
It's crazy.
He had obligation. Remember at that time, Bob Sapp was the hottest MMA guy in the world. They had just done a feature on him on HBO Real Sports.
And in Japan, huge.
Right, he couldn't walk down Japan. And
they said in Japan it was like if Michael Jackson would walk out on Fifth Avenue in New York City, he would shut down the streets.
He was fucking 3 Japanese girls at once with one dick. He would slice them like a fucking Japanese shish kebab. And then they would just fall off, and he'd push them off the balcony and get 3 more. It was craziness. But all those type of personalities were on this movie.
Yeah.
And then you had
Goldberg. He got in fights with the producers, I understood.
Then you had fucking the kids that were the real football players.
Right.
You had real football players on the set mixed with college players. And so it was very an interesting fucking dynamic. Then you had who I see now all the time, and I'm really happy for him that he gets movies. Kevin Nash is one of the nicest.
Really?
Bro, he's in a ton of fucking movies. He's in Magic Mike. He's one of the dancers or something in Magic Mike.
Killer.
And I think he's in Wick. Yeah.
He's John Wick?
Yeah, Wick kills him outside the door. That's who John Wick kills, outside the fucking door at the club, at the Russian club at the end.
Yeah, he was in John Wick Francis.
Huh.
Yeah, he was in a bunch of shit.
He killed me.
And he's in the WWE.
Did he kill you in John Wick?
Yeah.
Who did?
Keanu.
So fucking Higgins in John Wick, and the two that
Higgins is too.
Yeah.
I missed that.
No, he's in the two. They're doing
in
John
part
Wick
two.
2.
Right, yeah.
They're shooting in New York,
yeah,
so he's playing one of the cab drivers, one of the Brazilian.
Yeah, cool.
Crazy fucking cab driver. You digging this other side of the business?
Dude, it's neat, man. It's it's always been something like what they said, like in 2000 when I first got a SAG card. They're like, the dude that helped me out, he was like a guy named Keith Willard. He says, yeah, you should keep doing this and da-da-da-da. I'm like, man, I'm not, like, there's no way. I'm a kid from Michigan. You're not going to, like, be in a film. I got this one job at the nightclub. I'm fighting. I'm doing this stuff. I like doing this and just call it good there. And then years later, after, like, a whole fight career unfolds and all that, and, like, a whole nother life happens, I come back into this thing, and it's like, it's not only, like, possible, it's happening, you know? And I just kind of ran after it, like, the way I did fighting. I'm like, I trained for it. I work out at it. I'm like, it's like you guys with comedy. It's like, I was telling somebody about comedy. They're like, oh, well, they just go up and they're just naturally funny. I go, them motherfuckers work like, they call it working out. Like every day they're burning up their gas tanks trying to get 4 different sets on for 5 minutes a piece all over town. Like, it's like, it's different than what anybody and I think that's the beauty of those things too, is like everything that people are excellent at is way different when you're inside it than when you're looking at it as a spectator, And I guess I just never liked being a spectator, So I'm in it, And it's dope. It's dope. I'm really grateful.
You just opened up a question I wanted to really ask you, and we have friends that are affected by this. I just want to ask you this just for when we met, you were a skinny fighter, blah, 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 blah. You came up, you moved up here, you really worked hard for where you're getting at. But a situation happened, you got on The Ultimate Fighter.
Right.
And he came to you and he asked you if you wanted to fight, and you said no because you saw it for what it was. How happy are you about that decision today?
It's weird. I said a while ago to somebody, like, what appeared, what I thought of at the time was my biggest failures had turned into my biggest assets later, and it's like, with this life, it's like I don't see the big scope of it. I don't see the big picture, but I just kind of, you go with everything that I guess, that you've, like, whether all the people you meet and every experience you've ever had, and it all culminates into this thing, and you have an intuition, and then you let that guide you at that time. At that time when I said no, like, I was really disenfranchised with it, but there was like 3 of us out in the waiting room. I go, listen, they're going to call me in. I don't give a fuck about this. Like, the only guy I want to fight here is Ken Shamrock. This is all bullshit. And, like I said, I'm just, like, I'm done. Like, I'm about to stab somebody in here. And I said, if you guys want to scrap, though, you want to really make a run for this, let me know. And both the guys that were sitting out with me were like, yeah. And then I go, okay, then I'm going to take myself out of it. And I go, okay. And so I did that, and then I don't know what happened when they were in the room, but, like, that, I think neither of them took that fight either.
About?
And I kind of, I've got things that, like, back and forth. Like, I miss all that, too, for sure. But I think it's the thing about putting things away in your life and starting the next thing, especially stuff that has
But you saw something.
Time period, for
sure. You fucking saw something.
Sure.
And I want to know, the question is, what did you see? Was it a personal decision? Were you really scared of the brain damage? Did you think there was more to life than... I always tell people, and this is where I got this saying from, not because of Tait, but when it comes to Tait, I always tell this to people. There's 2 things. It's better to want than to have, sometimes for some people. And sometimes that's why, remember we were fucking around in Atlanta, and I took Duncan aside, remember we made that tape, and my key words are, before you get into this, I want you to really think about what you're getting yourself into. Because it gets whooped up fast. 1 minute you were doing neck bars at 10 Planet, the next minute you're on a fucking show. Okay? And how fast did it happen? Bam, bam, bam. You know, it's like bam, bam, and all of a sudden you saw something. It wasn't that you were a pussy and you didn't want to fucking fight, because you'll strangle anybody at any given time, and I've seen it. It's not about that. You saw something, Tate, and today, 10 years later, I kind of applaud you.
Well, thanks.
Because today, you wouldn't be where you were if
I
you
know
kept
Dardeem
fighting.
says the same thing you're saying.
And I'm not telling you this because you weren't a good fighter.
Right.
I'm telling you this was going into a different direction.
For sure.
It's gone into a different direction. I see all this distant, and nobody's happy with the UFC.
No.
At this point, nobody.
No.
Nobody. The fighters and people around, they want to do a union. Did you foresee this? Did you?
For sure. I mean, ever since I first started, I was like, we got to have a fighters union, and like this doesn't work. And I started looking at guys that were like, this was their whole life, and it's like, and when it becomes that, like, and you're in poverty, like that's not a good play. It's not a smart play, and then you're going to diminish your cognition also, like that you're in a fuck spot. But like what I saw was like. And Dana White told me a story, and he goes, you know, I came in, I was a fighter, and then I started managing guys, and I started looking at the fighters that were ahead where I was, and they were already punchy, and they weren't really maybe going to go anywhere, and I was behind them, and what was I doing anymore? And then I started looking at everybody in the UFC, and I go, you know, and at that time we had longer careers, but like right now I think it's like 16 months or something. It's like almost nothing, like for an average career of an MMA fighter in the UFC. And, but who is perpetual? Well, Herb Dean was always there. He reffed a bunch of my fights, John McCarthy. So those guys are there. And then the ring girls are there. But they're new fighters every 3 months. And it's like those guys are just thrown away. But you do put your whole life into it. And so I put my whole life into this thing that was going to have an empty return later. Now, I say that, I'm completely fucking grateful for I never did it as a career. I did it because there was an expression of me as an artist that I wanted to be able to exact inside a cage and in those walls. And I love the camaraderie and the fellowship of all the brotherhood of what fighting is, you know, in the gym, and all my brothers at Jackson's and Winklejohn's MMA, and everybody that touched me and formed me there as a man, and I wouldn't be who I was without it. However, to continue on with it would mean that I was going to forgo any future life that I had, because like at the top levels, I'm mediocre, you know, and so what does that look like? And I see the guys that I look up to, and I'm like, those guys aren't fighting for a belt yet. And I'm like, and I'm late in the game. And so when the opportunity to go back into film work came up, I was like, maybe this is the thing. Because the only time I ever felt alive when they're like, are you ready? Are you ready? And then we fight. The only time I ever felt that is when somebody said action. And when they do that and it's yours to fuck up and it's like, and you're all dialed, and it's like, okay, let's go and see if I can make this moment work for everybody. And so I ran after that just like that, man. And I was like, you got to, you know, and I've only been back into Jackson's gym once since then, and it's so uncomfortable because you want to spar and you want to go in and you want like, I've got all those things in me still, but it's like I exercise a bit of denial with it. Like I got to deny myself certain things so other things can happen. I think it's just like a maturing man. You got to ask yourself, who are you now? Who are you that you're not the best football player in college? Or who are you now that you're not this? Or who are you now you're not the fighter guy? Who are you not? Like, who are you underneath what you do, who you are, what's in your pocket and all that shit? And like, that's a scary fucking question. Most guys run from that question. They don't want to know any of that. And I've been forced in positions where I'm like, I've had to ask myself that question a lot. And so you get okay with you go, well, fuck, man, this is where it's at, you know? And you got, you know, like without guys like you, like, you know, and like Rogan and Logan and fucking a bunch of my friends around, like, I got these pillars around me that are like, that are balancers, that are diffusers of all the bullshit and everything, and things get distilled into purity where you can see life clearly for what it is and for what matters and who you are outside of the midst of all the bullshit and trappings, you know? And that's the stuff that is like, you know, like what makes me is you, you know, like it's like, to me, it's like that, you know, because without that reflection, I get lost in it.
It's funny, you were with me when I still had my addiction in a fucking bad way, and we'd talk about it. And I was thinking about the time we went to Austin, and I got the coke from that crazy guy, and I gave some of it to Brian, and he got caught in the bathroom snorting. And they threw him out of the bathroom or something. But I'm thinking about how how big you have to be. Like when I was 16, one of my biggest heartaches is when I had to come to the conclusion that I was going to play high school ball. At the end of my freshman year, I knew what time it was.
Right.
I knew how good I was. I knew what I could do, but I also knew the system around me was going to be a little harder than what I anticipated. I didn't anticipate this. You know, I was watching the making of Wish You Were Here.
Okay.
And Have a Cigar is about their not being happy with the entertainment. Come on in, have a cigar. You're going to go far.
Right.
You're going to fly high. You're never going to die. You're going to make it if you try. I mean, he just, you know, and they asked him, they're like, at that time, all we want to do was play. But they wouldn't let us. You know, they wouldn't let us. It had to be bigger. We want a bigger production. We want bigger lights. And all they want to do is fucking play. And there comes a time you take control of your life. You took control of your life at that moment in front of Dana White.
Exactly.
It all clarified, and people live their whole fucking life, and they'll never do that. And I still remember coming to the conclusion, like May of '78, like, holy shit, I'm not going to play high school, college ball. I had such a hard time my freshman year. I could see this is going. I'm not part of the boys' club, and that fucking killed me for years, deep down inside, because in a way I quit.
Right.
But all I was doing was making my life easier.
You know, though, too, I think we want to believe that we could be the best at anything. Like any human anywhere could be the best at whatever if they put their mind to it. Like, it's the American fucking, let's get in there and do it. We can do it. Make it happen. But that shit's not true. There's people that are fucking highly gifted that'll never make it because they don't work very hard. But those that are highly gifted that work hard, you're never going to catch up to that guy. Like, you're never going to, like, and that's one of the things that, too, I started looking at. I'm like, I love this ability to do the thing that I love doing, this art that I love doing. That being the case, what's really distilled here also is that there's not the time or talent within me at this point to be a champion. Like, I see who all the time, I see Anderson Silva dance like that, and I'm like, okay. Like, he moves different than me or whatever. And so I go, so you get to be a journeyman fighter kind of. You get to be a prize fighter that isn't going, so how good is that after, you know, like, so for everybody that's had 10 fights, they've had 10,000 wars in the gym. Like, and I've been knocked out a couple times by that point, and I was like, I just can't. I can't in good conscience puts myself here. Like, I feel like, you know, I mean, I was pulled from prison and pulled from death when I was a kid, and to be and I started thinking about family, and I go, I've got a responsibility to my mother. Like, I've got all these. I'm like, this. I got to find a new life. I don't know what that is, but I know that this isn't going to take me there. You know?
Did you see what Shogun Rua got paid? He got paid $5,000 for that fight.
Is that right?
Could you imagine, like,
You know,
putting
the
in
other
all
thing
that
is-
work?
Shogun Rule got $5,000.
I'm almost positive. I'll check it.
Can't believe it. That's
Reebok.
crazy.
Yeah.
Is that maybe so?
Hey, listen, man, 70 million 4th of July.
Yeah.
And people got $5,000.
Well,
7 million at the door.
And look at like you see Big Nog walk out in that fight. You can see the brain damage on the guy when he's walking out to the fight.
He's had brain damage for the last 5
And so
fights.
check this out. So he doesn't have any money saved. He's one of the most popular guy, multiple champion in the UFC and Pride. And like, that's the things I'm looking at. And I'm looking at that, and that motherfucker still has nothing. And so and after he stops fighting, after he stops earning, he'll really have nothing. And a diminished capacity to where people can only put him around like a puppet. And be like, yeah, we have this guy before the candle of his fame extinguishes completely, because there's going to be another 30 guys in the next 2 years that are bigger names than that. And that's the sad facts of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. So I got it. So Rua got $10,000. He got 5 to show him.
Holy shit.
Antonio got 5. Let's go down. Stefan Struve got 10, and Nogueira got 10. Antonio Silva got 5.
I don't even understand what you're saying to me right now.
I know, it's crazy.
It's fucking crazy.
I mean, some of the lower ones got 2,500,
It's
and it's
fucking
just
crazy.
What does it say what Ronda got?
yeah, $40,000.
That it's got to be Reebok's got to be paying them all a note then, right? Like, or I don't know how that works. But those are the funniest numbers I ever heard.
$5,000. That means you're really taking home $2,800 after you pay jiu-jitsu, your fucking corner.
And that's the other thing too, is all these guys, they don't know how to pay taxes. Here's a check. Good luck at the end of the year when the tax man wants his. I made $400,000 this year. No, you didn't. You better have saved $180
What 180?
to pay the tax man when he's coming. You know what I mean?
I'm just saying what one.
Yeah,
That's
what
they're
one?
saying.
Yeah. That's some.
I know that if I was still snorting coke, I would have been a journeyman comic, and I didn't want to be a journeyman comic. When I see a journeyman comic, it bothers me. A journeyman comic is a guy that headlines here, features here. I just did Columbus with a guy that's been headlining for 30 years.
Right.
Now he's opening for me. That's when I quit.
Yeah.
That's when I get out of the bit. That's a
And
journeyman
that's the thing
comic.
about being proactive like that. That's you feel what I'm saying. Man.
As soon as I stopped doing blow, I kicked it up to different levels. You know, I became a headliner.
Yeah.
You know, I was doing comedy all those years, but I wasn't no headliner. That's a big difference.
Right.
When you see Joe and Greg Giraldo and they're headliners, they have a beginning, a middle, and an ending, and they have a message, and they're taking it to different places.
And then you go from these little rooms to a fucking
Right, to
real
fucking
comedy
theaters
club,
and
and then to a
comedy
theater,
clubs.
and then
And the fighting and the comedy, to me, is a lot of the same.
Same.
I watch it, and I know when you go to when you don't see a guy for a year, and you go to a comedy club and you're excited, and he does the same set he did the year before.
Right.
It's me when I watch a fighter and he's still just throwing that same
yeah, we
leg
watched
kick.
Tito and Stephan Bonner in Bellator earlier. We're like, so this is still happening, huh? Okay.
No leg kick, nothing new.
No.
Not a double jab. You didn't even throw up a double
No.
jab. Just work on a double jab for me. If I
No.
see a double jab 3 times, you ever watch a fight and the guy keeps throwing a kick and it's not working? Dariush on Saturday threw a flying knee. He threw 1,000 fucking flying knees. Dariush, give it a fucking breather. Give it a fucking breather with the flying knees. After the 4th one, they're not working, Dariush.
Yeah.
He sees them fucking coming. That's all. A little light, I was watching my man up in San Francisco, who I love, the guy that wrestled me at Palmares.
Oh yeah.
He's got the worst leg kick in the world. It's like one of those, it's like when Mercy kicks me and runs away. It's like a little, and he runs away. Really? You're going to show up with that fucking leg kick? A leg kick is supposed to make that leg red or leave your leg in there. Don't even put it out if you're going to do that.
Right.
If we're just going to sit there and tap each other, leave the leg in. Because you're fucking bothering the shit out of me. And it's true. Leave the leg in. You're not doing that with that little tap.
You should be in their corners.
Unless you're going to blast me. But why are you throwing
How
up
good
a
would that
leg?
be to have Joey be the corner guy for these guys?
How good? I'm from a different set of fighting. You're eluding, and you're fucking waiting to set him into your fucking trap. It's like my man Rashad Evans says. Once Greg Jackson told him, "I want to hear them boo.
Yeah.
I want to hear them booing." That's when you know you're doing your job. You're sticking to your fucking game plan. Fuck them.
Yep.
You're sucking him into your fucking world. Every fight is different. When I see a fucking preview and I hear this, it's going to go back and forth, but my power, your power is shit. Ask Joe Lozon. You're going to throw a punch, you might clip him in the jaw, but you're going to momentously keep going, and he's going to take your fucking power and break your fucking elbow. What power are you talking about? Power. Then they're sitting there throwing these fucking bombs for 2 hours, and you're sitting there bored to pieces like you deserve to lose, You deserve to fucking lose. Same thing with comedy. Writing, to me, is like working on your back. That's it. Nobody wants to
Right.
work on their back. I
Right.
got tremendous
Right.
power. Who needs jujitsu? Boom. There you go. You need jujitsu, cocksucker.
now you're drowning.
Now you're down on the ground and you're
Yep.
dead to the people. Well, I know half guard, and I know Eddie taught me a lockdown.
So crazy, dude.
It's fucking crazy, and you're getting into the ring. I wouldn't go into a UFC ring unless I was a 2nd-degree black belt, and I have been doing jujitsu every day since I was 5.
What's crazy too? I was thinking about people put all this emphasis like that, that guys are awesome at jiu-jitsu if they're in the UFC or something like that. But you think about it, you reel it back, like, a lot of those guys were not blue belts. Like Clay Guida started, his jiu-jitsu is not a blue belt. Like at the beginning of his career, goddamn George St. Pierre would walk out in a purple belt. You know what I mean? Like he's like that's where he was at when he was a champion. And which is crazy. He got promoted throughout the years because he was a champion a long time. But it's it's a different game. It's a different game. And if you get lost on the ground, man, you are lost. You can see the guys that know and that capitalize on it. A lot of 10th Planet guys capitalizing on it now. See my man Kukui, and he's fucking like you're in trouble. If you trip and stumble, you are in trouble. You're in trouble. He's gonna strangle you. And that's just how it's gonna go. But there's other guys, you go to the ground and you're like, they feel safe, they're resting there,
It's funny that I went to Houston's with Eddie way before I knew any of the terminologies and shit. He was just one day being Eddie. Eddie being Eddie.
Yeah.
Eddie just dropping knowledge. And he was telling me, and this has to be 10 years ago because I still lived in Hollywood. I lived here, this has to be 2006. And he was telling me how You really need to learn how to fight in your back now the next 5 years in jiu-jitsu. But a bunch of wrestlers are coming in and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. And I really started listening to him. I'm like, you got a point there. And these wrestlers will take you down all fucking day long. I mean, you know.
I mean, you look at why Chuck Liddell was successful. Because he could stop a take, because he knew how to wrestle. People are like, oh, he's a striker. No, man, he is a fucking championship wrestler. Like, he's a fantastic wrestler. That's why he's still on his feet. Because the guys coming at him are savages. Like, you know, you watch Jeremy Horner, only wanted to take him down. Guys couldn't take him down, you know?
That's my all-time favorite.
Yeah, Chuck?
Till this day.
He's amazing.
Till this day, I look at this Conor McGregor, and I look at half these guys, and I go, you know what? They don't have half the class Chuck did.
Yeah.
Half the class. Honest to God. Chuck made me get
and the
skinny.
vigor.
Chuck made me join Kempo Karate. That's, you know, and I would never talk. You guys know me, dog. I don't fucking give a fuck. I never said a word to him until about 2 years ago. After he retired, I just go, hey, man, I want to tell you something. You're my all-time favorite.
Yeah.
If I was to have a post on an MMA guy, he was at 10th Planet with Einstein. And he goes, really? And I go, man, I like everything about you.
Yep.
Everything about you. And I miss you. To be honest with you, I miss you. You're a fucking...
He's an icon, man, for sure. And he's a, you know, and a family guy like him and his girl Heidi, his wife, she's the sweetest thing. And the way he takes care of his kids, man, I mean, you see him around and it's just like, he's about it, man.
I seen him on a weigh-in with a baby stroller.
Yep.
With the cutest pink baby stroller with slippers on and fucking
toes painted.
And I'm like, this motherfucker.
Yeah.
And he came over and gave me a hug. I mean, just a hell of a nice guy and crazy. He had the perfect attitude when he was fighting. I loved everything about him.
Yeah.
Every time I heard a drunk story of him falling asleep on an interview, everything I heard, I always was like, you know what? I love that motherfucker.
Yep, he's
and when
great.
he started getting knocked out, I hated it. I got to be honest with you. I fucking hated it.
Well, but even him, bro, he come up to my gym in Santa Fe. We're talking, we're doing sprints and doing a little wrestling, and it was before his last knockout, I guess. And he says, you know, Dan just wants me to retire. He's really pushing me, but it's like we're driving around in his Ferrari, and like, man, you're living like this, and like everything goes away, evaporates for me. Like if I don't have paychecks, I need like 3 more years of paychecks. I got kids to take care. I got planning to do that I'm not into, you know, and then I think he fought again, and then he got a great job as an exec with the UFC, you know, kind of that UFC welfare that they do to some of the real special guys that are out there, but.
They're going to give Nogueira in the front office.
Oh, God,
Dana White said he's going to give Nogueira a job in the front office.
Really?
Yeah, he said at the press conference, you got to stop. You got to stop.
Good. I was watching that, dude, and I was
give you a fucking
hoping.
job.
I was like, you can't even have those as fights anymore. If you want this sport to grow and have people be like, yes, this is something that's viable and I want to see, you got to stop the guys from fighting still. We can't have Wanderlei Silva fight again. We can't have Shogun, even as good as he looked, man. That's a downward spiral. We can't. You don't want to see guys after their egg is cracked. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, and that becomes the thing. Is like, who are you after that happens? And nobody wants to stop fighting. I mean, you see guys like Ken Shamrock. You think he wants to fight anymore? No, that poor guy. He just doesn't know how to do anything else, and his ego's so messed up. It won't allow him to be anything else. So he'll fight for $500 on TV to get his name up a little bit. And it's like, that's insane. You're allowing guys that aren't smart enough to have self-preservation as a gene inside them to go ahead and make choices to diminish themselves more. And if you don't care about the human, as he is the same human as me, as you, and we are all connected, if you don't care about that because you're so disconnected, then goddammit, care about your brand, whether it's Bellator, UFC, or whatever. Care about your brand enough to go, if I have these guys and they stay too long, it's going to really tarnish my brand. Because it does, 100%.
Well, a lot of people want to see Rampage fight.
Sure.
I'm a fan of MMA, and I got to be honest with you. I like Rampage. I don't want to see him fight.
How about this,
The
though?
last 5 fights were just non-existent.
What if we didn't see Chuck's last 3 fights and he just walked away the killer that he, you know what I mean? What if you never saw the pedestal get knocked away from BJ Penn? You know what I mean? It's like, there's stuff like that. Be a Hickson. Be an icon forever. You know, it's not that Hickson's unbeatable, but that man's a living ghost story. Because you know what? He walked away at the right time, but nobody walks out of the casino in time.
Nobody.
Nobody
Hey, listen,
does.
I did not dream of doing stand-up at the age of 52.
Yeah.
I will tell you this. This was not on my fucking
Yeah.
future map. This was not my own personal crystal
But
ball.
imagine if every time you got up on stage, that your diction got a little less, that your cadence or that your memory, that
Oh, my
you'd forget
God.
words. Imagine every time it was just a little bit less. Your timing was a little bit off. So you're getting worse and worse. That's a motherfucker.
That's a motherfucker. You know, getting old is a motherfucker.
Yeah.
I just don't want to be that guy that's 70 up there doing dick jokes and getting a fucking night and people like patting me. I remember in 1985, I did a movie. I don't want to be. I've never wanted to be that fucking
That's
guy.
the same.
When
You're
I
the
see
same
it-
as me, dude.
When I used to see guys like John Fox, rest in peace, who I'm not talking bad about, it would fucking put the fear of God in me because that's where I was headed. Tait. When we were in Austin that time and you guys were lifting and I went to the pool,
Right.
you still remember that?
Yep.
Did you ever think we'd be sitting across from each other 10 years
crazy,
later? You
huh?
didn't think I was going to live?
No.
My drug problem at
No, no, no,
2006
no.
and 5. Once I did the longest yard, that was it. People have no idea what happened to me.
I'd go home, dude, after like when we go to the hotel, and like we'd have plans like, oh yeah, we'll go meet or we'll
When
meet up
we're
and we'll
here?
grab a coffee.
When we're here?
No, when we were traveling on the road together,
Oh, yeah.
and like it was always a thing. I'm like, I hope he's okay. You know, because like you check out, you're like your obligation's done, not answering the phone anymore, not doing that,
Done,
like all
done.
plan.
Horrible.
And I know, and then I got an inkling of what's happening. And I'm like, fuck, man, you know, because well, you can't say nothing.
I didn't want to eat. I didn't want to talk to nobody.
No.
It was in my pocket already. I would not do it before I went on stage, especially around Joe. I never wanted Joe to see me. Joe saw me high one night in 98. And he was heartbroken, guys. This is before he started smoking pot, which he he did not understand the drug world. His friend...
What a crazy thing. He didn't start smoking pot till he was like 36,
Yeah, he didn't start smoking
37.
pot till 2000, 9/11. He was smoking pot, 9/11.
Crazy.
But I still remember one night I called him, and he told me he wasn't coming down. And I went to the Union, which was next to where Dane Cook became a star.
Okay.
The Union was first. It was Ahmed's room. Then Josh Wolf and Ahmed booked it. And the guy from Swingers hung out in there, so girls would come. So it became a scene. So Tuesday nights, it was a great fucking room. I mean, every comic that liked pussy would beg you to get on because it was a fucking pussy hound room. Not for me. I didn't pick up no pussy there. I was broke. I'd go down there and get like a gram of blow, and we'd drink for free. But I remember one night I got fucking tanked in there. Oh, my God. I was jawing. I could feel the jaw going. It was 10:30, and I walk out in front of the Union, and there's Joe Rogan with the Supra. This is when he had the silver Supra. And he
The
came-
Acura, yeah.
and
That-
he came- no, the Supra.
Okay.
I know Joe when he had the Supra, which he sold for like $500, you guys know, to a comic.
Really?
He felt bad. He goes, just give me $500. That's how good of a guy Joe.
Something
Then,
else.
this is when he was on news radio. And I had to have a conversation with him. And I remember him looking at me. And like I could see the disappointment in his face.
Yeah.
And I kept trying to look the other way and light a cigarette so he wouldn't see my jaw. And the people were like, come with us in the car. And he kept saying, no, you're coming with me. And we went to Coaching Horses. And he watched me like the rest of the night. I couldn't even go do another bump.
Oh.
But I was never so embarrassed. And then he brought it up like maybe 2 months later or something. So I said, that's it. When Joe's around, because he loves me and he's my friend, I have respect for him, I'm not going to drink or do a bump. There was nights I went out with him and I had a gram of blow in my pocket.
Burning a hole in your pocket.
Burn a hole in my pocket. And I'd see everybody else doing bumps and he'd tell me, look at that guy doing coke.
Yeah.
Look at that fucking idiot doing coke. And I go, oh, no.
He just, he's one of those special guys that you always wish you could be like, where it's like, he can see that, like, that shit doesn't help you in your life. Why would you do that? But we all do shit that doesn't help us. We're all in our own way to some extent, but not Joe. Like, Joe's the most clear out of his way out of almost maybe anybody I know as far as that kind of thing goes. He's like, that would impede the future me. Why would I do that? Like, it's fucking powerful to be around him, And it's no fucking coincidence either. When you look at the original crew of like, it's funny what Death Squad is now. Eddie was saying something to me the other day about Death Squad. He was like, who are these fucking nerd comments? He's like, Death Squad is what the fuck? He's like, it's you, me, Joey, and that's it. Like
Ari.
and Ari, right?
Ari.
And so that original crew, you, me, Duncan, Ari, Red Band, Joe, like, and you look at what's happened. You know, like I look back on a lot of friends that I've had throughout the years, and it hasn't been like an upward climb for a lot of guys, but fucking all of us, fucking, you know, thank the gods and knock on wood or whatever, like. That thing about being distilled enough where you work hard, you're creative, and you're about fucking helping people and bringing other people up. All of us are in a spot that's like magical that I could have never imagined happened. I mean, it's like I look at it, I'm like, this doesn't seem. I don't know how this is real. And so the other thing about like going, yeah, Dana, I don't think so, is like I couldn't have seen where that like all the turns that I took that were rights instead of left. It wouldn't have brought me here. You know what I mean? And so it's like, I don't regret a goddamn thing because everything took me to where I am here. And I feel like I'm the most useful and purposeful to my communities and those around me where I am today. You know, and fuck, what's better than that? Because at the end of the day, whether, you know, it's my truck or my fucking house or my whatever, all that shit goes away.
All goes
but like,
away.
Who you fucking touch in your life and who touches your heart, that marks you forever, man.
Ever.
That's on your soul forever. And thank God it is. You know, I think that's what immortalizes us. That's what makes us bigger than human and a part of a bigger woven fabric than we could ever be alone. And like that whole thing about, you know, judging others or comparing myself or this or that, it's like, it's not like me getting better than or worse than or anything. The thing that sucks about that is when I think I'm different than you, it separates me from you. And it isolates me in that lie. And the fucking truth is like, the only goodness that I've ever felt in life is when I felt like fucking right together and dialed in with somebody else. You feel like you're held in the palm of the universe.
It's weird. He came off. I came off stage the other night. He was waiting for me at the store.
Yeah.
And we went to the back to the lounge, and he was like, you know, I was thinking. He goes, Tennyson and Dice and all those people. That was a great time at the Comedy Store, but fuck them, because they were all at war.
Yep.
He goes, we came up together and we all support each other, and they're going to be talking about this for a long time. This is really, right now, is the classic age of comedy. I mean, you call any comedy club on a Saturday night, and they're packed. You know, people are in touch with comedy more than ever through these podcasts. My friend Brian Morton runs the Chicago Laugh Factory. It's always packed on Friday and Saturday with open micers. He doesn't even use names in there. But he knows how to reach the fucking people and tell them it's going to be a great show. It's amazing what's going on with comedy.
And don't you think the difference is scarcity versus like a sense of opulence? Like what you're talking about at the store is like I've seen some of the migration from that old mindset to the new, and a lot of those older guys are falling off that aren't with it. Because the thing is they're like, well, if you're doing good, then that means it's as if they're so fucking crazy. It's as if there's only so much laughter. If you get too much of the laughter, there won't be more laughter out of that audience for me to get, and so I don't want you to do well.
And they're against each other.
And that shit doesn't happen now.
And that shit doesn't happen. You know, listen,
it's amazing
when you
down
do
there.
comedy and you cheer against people, it comes back and it fucking bites you in the ass. I cheer for everybody. The other night, Michael Costa was on late night on some fucking NBC. I never heard it. I taped it, and I watched it. Why? Because Michael fucking follows me, and I follow him at the store all the time. How good of a friend am I with Michael Costa? Hello and goodbye. I don't know him at all. But I sat there and cheered for Michael Costa because I know I'm cheering for myself.
Hell yeah.
It's like when you watch somebody go, I hope that motherfucker breaks their fucking ankle.
Yeah.
Listen, man, I'm a Santeria guy. And one of the real strengths of Santeria is like, you know, whacking people, whatever. I never used that. I was raised right in Santeria. My godmother was old school Cuban. And she used to go, when you put energy out like that, 9 out of 10, let's say it works. Let's say it's Tait does slip and break his fall or whatever.
Right.
You know what? You're going to break your leg or something's going to happen to you eventually because that comes around.
Or the way it seems like for me is like I end up, you end up putting that on me. I break my leg. And then I'm the only one that's coming along when you've fallen off a cliff and you need a hand, and I don't have the leg that it takes to pull you up or whatever. It's like
amazing.
And it's like that whole thing. That's what I mean about like there's not a separation in us. We're the fucking same unit.
You have to cheer. I don't worry about what this guy's doing or what that guy's doing. It's got nothing to do with me. And I knew this 10 years ago. I made these correlations over the year, less and less. You know, the happiness I got was that one day I said, I'm not doing coke again. Until this day, I remember cocaine and I go, I don't know how I got rid of that habit. I don't know, Tate. There was no rehab. There was no, I don't know what it was. Yeah, it was the cat. I didn't
The
want,
cat.
I didn't want my friends to. There were so many reasons why I got clean. I mean, I didn't want to. I broke a promise. I didn't want to break a promise to the cat. I didn't want my wife to find me on the floor. But most importantly, I didn't want people going up to Joe and Eddie and Tate and Ari and going, "I told you so. I told you so." I don't ever want a motherfucker telling me he told me so. Fuck you.
You know what? Not like, it was, oh yeah, he died. That's no real surprise.
Right.
You know what I mean?
don't
And it's
want
like,
that.
I'd rather live longer and be like, what? Like, everybody looks at me from high school or from whatever, and they're like, that's a surprise. You know what I mean? Like, I wasn't supposed to end up like this. I'm in 5-point restraints. I'm not anywhere near where that's not where I'm supposed to be.
How old are you now, Tate?
42.
And you graduated high school, you were a complete different individual.
Yeah, I did graduate, and yeah, man, the whole thing in like, I guess when I was 21 or something like that, like in on that bank robbery back in the day, and fucking like just a criminal, like from, and kind of not caring and not really thinking like things could be different. I was just like, oh, this is just who I am, and whatever, I'll just ride it, whatever. I'm not even mad, like, but none of that shit was true, is what turns out. Like, it's like, I had this story about myself that I'd been buying for a long time, and that hadn't been true in a long time, but I was still telling myself the same story. Like, you're a loser, you're never going to do nothing, and all this shit over and over again playing in my head. It wasn't until I was fucking sober for a long time. I'd already been in the Ultimate Fighter, fucking UFC, was undefeated in a bunch of fights for a long time, and I'd been a leader, put together groups for SWAT and fucking DEA and recon, fucking hand-to-hand combat shit, and like I'd been a forerunner in all this shit. And it's like I was somebody like I'd grown into something different, but I still had that same story. And it wasn't until just a few years ago where I was like, the way you feel about yourself and what's true is fucking different. You need to get correlative with those things.
That story doesn't really define me anymore. It doesn't define me anymore. No. That's who I might have been 30. I mean, listen, I still remember thinking of ideas to do with my life and saying, it doesn't really matter because I'm a piece of shit.
Right.
I remember thinking of coming to LA.
I mean, that's why I love Biggie.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, like when you listen to him, like he's like he gets that shit. You know what I mean? It's like and like when he kills himself on tape, and he's just like, I'm just tired of it. Like, and that's the thing. When you choose a life that beats you down so much, and you think, oh, it's just my circumstance, so I'm going to ride it. But you don't make different choices outside of that life.
You'll stay there.
It beats you down to where you're
man.
like that's desperation. That's not giving a fuck. Like, yeah.
I don't like losing, Tate.
Yeah.
I don't like fucking something having control
Yeah.
of me. I got locked up, and when I walked out of those, I was like, this ain't ever going to happen to me again. A man having control over me.
Yeah.
Wake up, go to bed.
No way.
Turn the lights, kick your bed. And I didn't like the control the cocaine had over me.
That's like being in prison.
It was a prison. It was my first thought of the day. How is this going to get handled tonight? Well, I got $21. What do I need to do tonight? I need to eat. I need to buy a bag of reefer. You know what? I need to come up with another $80. And that was your mission. Once you got the 80, then you relaxed. Now it's on to what's important in my life. What's not important. I have to write comedy. I have to write jokes. That always came first, second.
Well, and also, what else does? Rent, cell phone bill, all that shit. You're like, no, this is the thing that must happen. I got to get my dope money. And then outside of that, we'll see if we can keep the rent going and shit.
Where the pieces fall.
That was crazy.
It was like, let's see where the pieces fall.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll pay the cell phone. All I need to give them is 40, and they'll leave it.
And
on.
always a weird hope, like almost a knowledge, like I'll wing it, man. I'll freestyle it, and this will work out. And you're like, you're making horrible decisions about this working out, Tate. No, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. I'm like,
in '87, I was such a criminal, and I was so coked up that I heard a story once. Well, I didn't hear the story. I knew for a fact that a lot of people would bundle coke.
Right.
Get 80 kilos, but take 40, bundle it up, and hold on to them somewhere. And they put like an old lady in that house, and then a guy 3 blocks up with a shotgun watching the house. And I remember I would drive through neighborhoods in Colorado, like not Boulder, but Lyons, shit up in the mountains.
Yeah.
And in my head, I go, ooh, that looks like a coke house.
Longmont and shit.
Longmont. No, even the other way, like the other way. I would go, wow, that house has cocaine in it. Like in my mind, I was
Yeah.
gonna break into the house because there was coke. And one night I actually went to a house and it was like kids and white people and they were playing the fucking piano. And I'm like, see, the addiction was making me think this shit. Like it was playing.
Yeah.
The addiction had me. It fucking had me. And it's so weird. The last 3 weeks, I'm getting a lot of emails from people going, we're in a bad place. And the podcast is helping me. And one of the emails I
Crazy,
answered.
beautiful emails you get.
Oh my God. And I said to myself, what's a bad place? What was a bad place for me?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, a bad place. I was in a bad place for fucking years.
Yeah.
I remember, like I said, Tate, you don't know what happened to me after the longest yard. Because on the longest yard, they blew smoke up my ass.
Sure.
So I thought once the longest yard was going to get
Your
released.
career's on.
It was on.
Yeah.
And nothing happened.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there going, when the fuck is my phone going to ring?
Right.
And I finally, I remember going into a Fox called me in for a pilot and going, this is the one. And I was this crazy character that drank and did drugs. So what did I do? I snorted coke
Got
till
into
8 in the
character.
fucking morning. And I walked in there at 11 and the lady was like, can I talk to you? She goes, listen, you're in no condition. I'll never forget this. I never told nobody this. She goes, you're in no condition to read for this. She goes, what, you didn't get no sleep last night? I'm in great condition. She goes, all right, go in there and read it. And I read it, and it was so bad. And I left like a
That's
white...
that cocaine's got such a problem because it gives you that confidence when you have no right thinking that you should be confident.
This
Like
guy-
you've done nothing to make yourself
This
be.
guy was a bum neighbor, like with a beard and like a hole in his T-shirt and like piss stance on his sweatpants. What do you think I wore to the audition? Sweatpants with a pee stain, a white T-shirt
Authentic.
with fucking holes in it, and my hair all fucked up. And oh my God, I'll never forget walking out of there going, I got to do something about this drug problem.
Yeah.
This is fucking killing me. This is tricking me into fucking...
Well, and it's like Groundhog Day, right? It's like that's not the worst day ever, but it's like here I am living the same fucking day. It's different wallpaper and shit, but it's the same fucking day as when I'm 12 years old or whatever, and I'm a grown man. What am I fucking doing with my life?
When was the last time you did a drug tape?
Was in 1994.
And you still work with kids and stuff like
Yeah,
that on the side?
yeah, all that shit. Yeah, that's the thing that keeps me close to it. You know, like I try to stay on the front line of it so that I remember it because easily life can get too good. You know, they talk about like recovery and they go, you know, recovery is so great to get like recovered from drugs and booze and all that, but like recovery will take you away from staying recovered. You know, like you'll go out into places where it's like recovery don't exist. You know, like so it's kind of on me to keep myself present to it, and so. Yeah, I, you know, like I think that's the rule, Joy, right? It's like you help where you can help, you know, and I love that story about like there's a kid, you know, like because you know, there's so much to help. It's like you look at dogs, they euthanize how many dogs a day and all that stuff, and cats, and like fuck, you can't save them all, you know what I mean? And there's a story a dude told me. He goes when I asked him why he's helping me, you know, and he goes like, you hear about this old white businessman down in Mexico, and he gets up early and there's been a storm the night before and the beach is all littered with stuff and the sun's coming up and he's walking down, he sees a kid and the kid's flailing and he thinks he's dancing or something maybe, and he goes down and he gets closer and the kid's reaching down and throwing shit in the ocean and there's just starfish that have washed up all over the beach from the storm the night before, and he gets up to the kid, he goes, what are you doing? The kid grabs one and whips it out in the ocean. He goes I'm saving these starfish. Like, clearly, dummy. And the guy's just like, he's looking at him all. He's like, there are hundreds of thousands of these. You cannot possibly make a difference. And he picks up another one. He throws it in. He goes, it made a difference to that one. You know, and that story, it reminds me like, you know, a saying that Mask said. He says, you know, I might not touch 1 million people, but I might touch one guy that touches 1 million people. And I think that's the thing when you spread good, you know, when you really, when I have your best interest in mind, that's what we're talking about, right? It helps everybody's best interest, you know? When you do better, I do better. Like, I need you to do better. Like, and when I get into that kind of a position in my thinking, there's nothing but happiness. I got no problems. I got no fucking problems, you know? I sit home, get depressed sometimes. What do I do when I do that? You better go help somebody, Tate. You know, it's always my fault. You lonely? There's somebody more lonely. Call that dude up. You won't be lonely and you'll be helping him. You know, and it's like, so those are kind of the places where I find my answers in that is in that community, you know,
making
like,
somebody's day. I believe
For
in
sure,
making
right?
just calling somebody, hitting somebody up on Facebook. You can see he's
Yep.
having a fucked up morning or something. I love that shit too. I love calling people,
or the lady at
cracking a joke.
the drugstore or wherever, like she's got to check out. It's like, man, if I can make her happy, that's nice, man. Like, the more people making her happy, the more people she making happy.
Lee knows I always tell African American women how good they look. Don't I, Lee? And
In front of my dad, yeah.
Huh?
In front of my dad. Remember sushi?
We had a good time.
Yeah. Well, you were asking her like why you like were able to get clean, and like I've never been addicted to drugs, so I just don't know. But everything I've ever heard is like you were just ready. So it seems like for both, like you were asking like maybe it was the cat, maybe it was this. It just feels like you were just ready. And maybe the people who OD or something just never get to be ready. Like they OD before they're ready.
I'll put a caveat on that, and I would say I got clean 1,000 times. It's not cleaning up that's hard. It's staying that way.
It's staying that way. It's a complete different
That's
battle
where the
once you
junkie
start
has the
drug.
trouble, right?
And I didn't have the trouble. It was just hard to remember the costume lady on the think of the costume lady. There
Longest
was
Yard?
an old woman from New York. Old. You could tell she was hot when she was 20 and 30. She wore glasses, and one day we were talking. And I said to her, we were smoking in the trailer, and she goes, you fucking guys with the reefer. and I go, you never smoked? And she goes, I smoked all the time, more than you guys.
Huh.
She goes, you know what's crazy? How crazy it is when you stop getting high. That's when you realize how crazy life is, when you're looking at it now and you're not fucking high no more. You know, on the reefer. I'm fucking scared to quit reefer. That's funny.
Why?
I try all the time. Like,
Really?
I'll try.
What are you scared of? What do you think is gonna happen?
I just get in a bad mood. It's not like the blow and stuff. I don't miss the blow at all. I don't miss what came with it. I don't miss the people I had to deal with. I don't miss any of that shit. I never liked the bar scene. The bar scene was always rough for me, even when I did blow. I didn't.
Yeah, who wants to go there?
Oh, I fucking hated all
People
that.
would be like that. I worked in nightclubs for a long time, and dudes would like, oh, is it hard for you to watch us all drinking and shit? I'm like,
No.
you all are not my choice of companions.
I
when
will
I'm
show
drinking.
you,
Like,
you guys being taped.
yeah.
And I will show you motherfuckers tomorrow. And
My
you'll-
shit is, let me get in a hotel room and close the windows up, turn the TV on, hit mute, and I'm there. I'm good. Like, I don't need anything. Like, my life gets reduced
How much coffee do you
to
drink?
that. A day?
All fucking day.
Between 5 and 15 cups.
How do you sleep
Depends
at
on the
night?
day. Easy, good.
Good.
And I just bought this great bed that made a huge difference.
I know this is all caffeinated.
But I sleep crazy good.
This is all caffeinated?
Yeah.
Okay, you don't fuck around either. I don't decaf.
We got some decaf, but I don't have
that's
it.
for
I've never
pussies.
tasted it.
No, me neither. I, don't like decaf. I drink straight up coffee before I go to bed at night and
Yeah.
fall asleep an hour
Yeah.
later. But I don't sleep. Since I haven't been doing it, the nights I don't do it, I can feel the
Right.
difference. You feel the fucking difference. Lee, how you feeling, brother?
I'm way fucked up, but I'm good.
How'd you
wait-
get fucked up, Lee?
We split probably what, 700?
No, it was 10
800?
milligrams in there.
Now, Joe's got a bit about that now. Now, how do you know really how strong 10 milligrams is?
Well-
like
don't.
everybody's got a different grading
don't.
system. Do you ever eat one and you're like, oh shit, so that's 5 milligrams. You eat another one and you can't get off the
I
floor?
ate a 200 milligram one on Sunday night, and I couldn't talk. There's an edible that you eat 200 that you can't fucking talk.
Do you periscope at all?
I got to show the morning joint every morning at
Really?
8:05. I smoke a joint with the fucking people.
I smoke a joint with the people. How long do you stay on? Just depends every day.
When the joint is finished, I smoke 3 bowls. I smoke 2 joints of reefer and 1 bowl of hash, just to fucking cover all Arabs. Everybody's happy.
All the business.
I try to make everybody happy.
I just started it like maybe a week ago or something, 2 weeks ago.
Very
But it's
interesting.
fun as anything, and the people on there are dope, man.
Very interesting.
It's really
Periscope
cool.
is one of the best things they fucking made. The best.
Yeah.
And I like it.
There was
It's a
another
little
one
TV
before that.
show.
What was it?
What was it before that, Tarzan?
They had one that is it Meerkat or some shit?
Oh, yeah,
but it would go away. It would evaporate like Snapchat, right?
I have no idea. That's a little bit. I'm not that into the internet. There's that, and now Steve-O just did it on Facebook. So I think
Didn't he
Facebook
just get
came up with
arrested?
it. Yeah, but he streamed it on Facebook Live. So I think they came out with one now.
Facebook did?
They must have.
He was protesting something and he jumped off something and got arrested.
SeaWorld is some shit.
That was crazy.
What are you gonna fucking do? Everybody's protesting. Everybody's mad at something. Fucking chickens in a cage. Chickens. I don't give a fuck. Right, Lee? Tell them. I don't give a fuck
So
if you
funny.
kick. I don't give a fuck if you kick the chicken. Right, Lee?
I was up at the store. I think it must have been there. I heard this, but like they're like, everybody's mad about Cecil and they're mad, they get mad about all this stuff and that's gross or whatever. Just some dude just to snuff out a soul just cause he wants a thing on his wall or whatever. But he's like, you ever turn on Animal Planet? He's like, that's a goddamn slaughter show. That's a horror movie. Like you got hyenas that are fucking eating the buffalo like calf while it's still alive and its guts are out and it's looking at it. Like, it is a fucking horror movie. It's a murder fest out there in the jungle. Like, that's just what it is.
Talk to me about coffee. What made you get into
Coffee. Oh,
What's in those
shit.
pills over there? What's those pills?
Oh, these are old fucking oxys that I had from years and years ago.
Are they still any good?
I don't know. I haven't never
Let me
taken
get one.
them.
Let's split one with Lisa. Yeah, fuck it. Let's do an Oxycontin. Let's see the devil.
No, I'm good, man.
These are they're hydrocodones.
Oh, they're like they're Vicodin.
Yeah.
How many? I don't want none of these things. These things are fucking killing Uncle Joey. You know what? I'll take one tonight. I'll be sure.
Might as well.
I'll get up in the morning like Slim Jim fucking Magoo. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the coffee. I don't know, man. All that stuff. You know, like, so you know how you're saying you got off the longest yard and you're like, oh shit, it's gonna blow up now, and it doesn't. And like, I look at that with every job that I get. Like, nobody's more surprised than me when my phone rings. I'm like, oh fuck, right on, man. It's still going. You know. And then
They
the
haven't
job,
found out I'm a bum yet.
the jobs that I get, I'm like, fucking really honored to be a part of. I'm like, it's fucking awesome, you know, like this new show coming out, that Westworld deal, is gonna be fucking epic. It's gonna be HBO's new huge series, and like get to work with icons in the thing, and like my whole shit has been like that, and but I always figure I'm about to be unemployed. Like, every time, you know what it's like working in the business is like, you got a job, you're already looking for your next job because that job's going to end. It's got an expiration date on it. And so, you know, so then I started, you know, me and a buddy, we made that microbrew, and then we did Bloody Mary mix. And then I all my Breaking Bad money, I dumped into a bar with a buddy of mine in Dallas called Concrete Cowboy. And Concrete Cowboy is one of the hottest nightclubs in the country every fucking week. And we got one in Austin now, and we'll open one in Houston shortly. And so got into that. Then the gym's going, and Heather's running that with a couple of my boys, Ruben and Nate. And Lorenzo came in. Lorenzo's one of my homeboys that I used to fucking know in the bar. He used to sell dope in there a long time ago. And then he got pinched after he'd been out of the dope game for like 5 years. But some fucking crankhead that allegedly drove for some people or something, and drove some, you know, they were like a mule for weed. And he did 4 years or something behind it on a conspiracy charge. No dope, no money, just some crystal meth addict that, you know, like the way that, but the feds close on you. They're like, you got 200 grand for a lawyer? Because we got a 96% close rate. So you want to do 15 years or you want to do 4? And everybody cops a plea. It's the game, right? And so numbers don't lie, you know, and they got to keep the prison filled. So he, on a crime with no drugs, no money, and nobody getting harmed over alleged weed, he did that time. But he put CrossFit on 4 different federal prison yards that still go on today. And now he's one of my main coaches, Lorenzo Hernandez, and he's a bad motherfucker too. So it's like I get to be around all those kinds of people. So that's going. And then me and Jardine, we've been training partners for a long time. And Lacey Mackey and I used to date. And she's Tom Cruise's trainer, and she's a fucking bad motherfucker. She was a CrossFit Games athlete for a while, and she's trainer to the #1 action star in the world. Just got some props on for doing Mission Impossible, but she's been with him for a while. And she and I love coffee, and so we started a little coffee truck and went to the little competitions, jiu-jitsu competitions, CrossFit, whatever. And it was another big failure. It was and you know, it was like right when I blew up Dave Asprey, kind of with Bulletproof and all that. And got him a bunch of notoriety where Dave's sending me emails going, thank you, I get to quit my regular job, man. This is awesome, da-da-da-da-da. And then he went crazy, of course. But so then Keith hits me up one day, and he goes, hey, bro, I met these guys, too, and they're like really coffee nerds like you, except they're from Colombia, and they're extradited, or they're exiled from there. They've been kidnapped a bunch. Their family owns a coffee plantation down there, and they live in Albuquerque now. He says, you got to meet them next time you come home. So me and Lacey met him. We went and got high as fuck on that white gold when they just made us like this. And it's kind of like, it's like a light coffee, but it's like a high caffeine content. And so he's making us espresso shots, and we're loopy fucking, like, I'd never been high off coffee like that before. And I go, man, we got to share this with people. Because, like, for the previous year, I was sharing, like, single origin, single estate coffees, what my favorites were, and I'd fucking take pictures of them, put them up. And then Twitter people would be like, hey, dude, here's mine. And they would send them to me. They're like, what's your address? I'm like, I don't know if I want to get my address out on Twitter. But anyway, they would do that shit. And And so that's kind of how it started. And so when we got this, I was like, dude, we got to share this. We got to put up a web page or something and just share it. And I called up at Dave, actually. I said, hey, man, I'm going to put up a web page. Love to do your shit, our shit. He's like, no, that's competition. And things went away anyway. K-Man Coffee got built. And we started making products. Then we got into cold brew. And then we got into nitrogen, these little cans. These we're going to get like 5,000 of these shipped to L.A. here shortly. But nitrogen infused cold brew. So our cold brew is brewed over like 16 to 18 hours. These, they tell me, are about 3 times the caffeine content of a Red Bull or some energy drink like that, which is, they're dope and they're delicious. I never had a better coffee. And so that's kind of where coffee came from. And
that's a lot of caffeine that you guys are on. 3 times Red Bull?
Listen, Giggles.
I need that.
Listen.
I need that right now.
You need a lot of fucking things, cocksucker.
So anyways, that was the whole deal. And like, I just go, well, let's make it all work. And how can we all make it work for everybody? And so I get to, people are like, how do you do all this shit? And how do you get all this shit done? It's like again, without community, without people, nothing. I got nothing. But like, you do shit. I'm like, I don't fuck with dummies. I only am around people that I love and care about and want to see them do great and that are smart and that can carry that torch. There's a lot of people you want to see do great that won't work very hard or that, aren't really into it. And I'm not with those people. I just don't, not that I don't love them, wouldn't want to carry them if I could, but I just don't have the time. You know what I mean? Like, as I get older, I go, there's only so many shopping days left before Christmas. You know what I mean? And you better shake the tree while you can. Maybe you only got 10 more years of being able to earn money at a really high rate right now. And right now it's just started to where I've been able to do that. Like, and I got plans. Like, fuck, I want to be on a billboard. I want to be, I got places I want to go in this career and in this life and things I want to do, And I think sitting on that stage, dude, I got that SAG award for Breaking Bad, and sitting there and fucking Brad Pitt's at this table and the whole Game of Thrones and all. I'm like, we go on stage. I'm like living in a dream, and I'm like, and it really more and more the little moments of these years have crystallized into this thing of like, really, there's infinite possibility. Like whatever you want to happen can happen, and so I'm just trying to push that forward with, and I learn lessons, like. Fucking guys like you and Joe and all that show me so much. There's a dude on Twitter, this guy Jody Middick. And Jody was a sniper for the Canadian Special Forces. I'd love you to have him on the show. He just wrote a book, and I forget the fucking name of the book. But at Jody Middick is his thing.
His name is Jody Middick?
Yeah, G-O-D. It's G-O-D-Y-M-I-T-I-C. And he just wrote this book that got out, and dude, it makes me cry. But the first time he hit me up was on Twitter, and it was about coffee, and I was like, oh, cool. And so we didn't even have any bags; we just send him some, and I was like, what do you think about it? And he's like, cool, whatever. And then he sends me a thing a few weeks later. He goes, hey, dude, do you think you can work out with me if I come to LA sometime? I go, sure, man, whatever. And I'm like, this is weird. Like I've never met a dude off the internet. Like, what is it? And I'm like, it's not real, and I'm blowing this off or whatever.
Unflinching?
Yeah, unflinching. And then a couple weeks later, he goes, hey, would you mind if Vice came and we can work out at Logan's gym? I'm like, Vice? And I didn't really snap that he's talking about Vice.com. And I'm like, and how's he know Logan's name? And I'm like, wow, this motherfucker is like researching me or something. Like that's my buddy's name at Deuce Gym down on Lincoln in Venice. And I go, yeah. I said, you'd have to hit up Logan and see, I guess. And he goes, okay, cool. And then he goes, oh, and then I make a fucking post. It's about the goddamn Olympic runner that runs on the things. He's got no feet, right? And he runs on those little slutty deals. And I go, of course this guy's cheating. This is fucking, he's completely enhanced. And like you can't run with springs on your feet and be like, you're the same as me. Like you're going to be faster. And he says, and then Jody hits me up on Twitter. He goes, I'll be the one laughing when I have hovercraft or something. I go, what are you talking about? I go, and why is Vice coming to talk to you anyway? He goes, well, because I'm doing a thing about PTSD. He says, I was a sniper in the Canadian Special Forces, and a lot of my buddies have PTSD, and I don't have it. And I lost my legs in the war, and I don't have it, and so I want to do some stuff. And I was like, holy fuck. And I went and did a workout with him. He's as big as me from the knees down. He got no legs, and he doesn't miss a beat, man. And then they threw him over the army after he lost his legs, and he became a politician. And so he's up in, I believe it's in Quebec or Montreal, one of those. And he's he's just a badass dude, real positive, really great guy, and he's trying to do a book tour and get out there as much as he can. But it's like shit like that, man. Like I get to meet dudes like that. Like it's like everybody makes me better than I ever thought I could be, you know? And that's the nice thing about being open to the universe, I think, in those ways. Is that if I would have stayed the same dude I was and been like, fuck you, unless you're 6'4", tattooed and fucking a skull on your face and your name's Tait, you don't know me. Like if I kept walking around like that, like I don't grow at all. Like, and the better you get, the better I get, man. And like the more I'm open to that, the better it is for me, you know? And it gets proven to me over and over again.
You're a fucking savage. Let me give some shout outs.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here. It's running late here, 4:33.
Oh shit.
Anyway, happy birthday to my man Crom 27. World Peas. Berkman, whatever, Berkham, whatever your name is, Mike Wilson Jr., Aaron Heyer, Cassius Morris, my little brother up there in fucking Canada and the boonies up there, Blaze One, Corey Gardner, and Kevin Glenn. You bad motherfucker. So what are you doing? Are you going to Toronto or something tomorrow? Look at you.
Yeah, I'm going
International fucking Lee Syatt.
on Thursday. So I'm going on Thursday, and on Friday night at 10:30, we're going to do a live Flying G Radio at the Cafe Underground, where you can get me this high. So bring some good edibles. It's going to be fucking... I'm going to have Derek Birch, who's a comedy promoter, and we're going to talk about what it's like from his point of view. So I'm hoping that a lot of young comedians are going to come. And then on Saturday at 6 o'clock, I'm doing a comedy seminar, podcast seminar, sorry, not comedy, where we are just going to go over...
How high is this guy?
Yeah, I'm not gonna be this high on the seminar. I'm just gonna talk about everything you need to do to start a podcast if you want to. It's at 6 o'clock at the
I thought
Comedy
you said
Bar.
you weren't good at the internet.
Huh? I'm good at this, but it's not. I don't go on Reddit. There's a lot of sites on it. Like, it's a lot now.
There's a lot out there on the internet.
There's a lot, and there's too much. And you can't... I don't Instagram. I'm not going to sit there and take fucking pictures. I can't do it.
It hurts my feelings. I always want to look at pictures of you.
I can't do it. I can't. I don't have the time. It's too much. I'm not a fucking picture
I was
guy.
super impressed though when you texted me the other day.
Oh my God!
I was like, when did you start texting?
I don't. I just fucking.
I've known you
if
15
I'm
years.
home-
I've had 3 texts
I have
He
home-
breaks it out like once in a while.
Once in a while, I'll break it out because I don't have time.
How many, when your number comes up on that icon for text, how many fucking, is there like 4,000 texts that are unread that are on your shit?
You know what? I find them a week later.
Yeah. That's so
Because
funny.
let me tell you what happens. Let's say you call me. Let's say you text me, and I don't feel it in my pocket, and I don't see it.
Yeah.
This phone rings every 20 minutes.
Right.
Once the phone rings, the text don't come up. Only the phone calls and who left the message.
Right. So you never go to the icons on your phone to
What
look at.
fucking? I don't know no fucking icon. So
Like in
here,
the- yeah.
So then what happens
main
is, see,
page.
here's what happens. I got my money is right here, email and phone. That's all I need. My Twitter's over here. The text is downtown Chicago, so I don't ever fucking see it. So if you
I
text,
go to Chicago
I don't
twice
go
a
to
year.
Chicago twice a year. So it's all the way. All I need is my money, which is fucking email and my phone.
Perfect.
I don't give a fuck about Twitter when I'm out. I don't have time.
What about messages? Phone messages, like somebody leaves a message. Like Jardine, he's a prick. He just lets his shit fill up, and so he never gets a message. Do you just go off the somebody called, or would you prefer they leave a message?
I'm gonna be as honest as I can with
Yeah.
you. I'm gonna be as honest as I can with both of you. If that motherfucker isn't from 301 from Juville, that shit gets erased. If I don't get a call from Juville, Beverly Hills 310 where the money's at for work, my agent is 310.
Yeah.
That's hysterical.
I don't fuck around. My booking agent is 310, and my theatrical agent is 310. So if there's not a call from Juville, you're in no
I
fucking
remember that old
danger.
message you used to have.
Yeah, I don't care. This
If
is
this
money.
ain't about money.
If it ain't
then
about
don't
Gilas.
fuck- That is either pussy or money,
Hi.
or
I
don't
thought
leave a
about that.
message.
Hi, Joey. Hi. This is Lee from Garden, whatever. I just want to let you know I wanted to touch base. And then they'll leave you a 6-minute message. And after 10 seconds, if you're not real, you erase that fucking thing. You don't want to
Yeah.
hear somebody's ear beaten.
I was thinking about that. Why haven't you had it for a while?
What's that?
The message.
Because I just torment people. I let them do what they're gonna do anyway, and then they bump into me and they go, "You never called me back. You left me a message. You text me. You're not supposed to text me. You know. First of all, listen. There was a commercial years ago, 8, 9 years ago, that touched my heart sincerely. and it was like American Airlines.
Okay.
And the guy comes out and he goes, business is down 30%. He goes, this is down, this is down. He goes, you know what's going on? We're depending too much on faxes and too much on emails. There's no more belly-to-belly sales, and that's what this company was made on. And he started giving out plane tickets, and people were cracked. You got to go back out there.
Yeah.
If you text me for work, if $1,000 bill don't come up over that text,
Right.
I don't get back to you.
Right.
I think it's unprofessional. You want to suck my dick? You want to text me?
Yeah.
You text me. If you want to suck my dick, text me.
So
But-
that'll work.
I might bump into it. If I open up a text, there's a picture of your pussy and your lips, I want this, I will text you back. You understand me? But if I see, hey, are you available October 4th on a text?
Right.
10 out of 10 times I erase it. I don't even accept the job because I don't want to do business with you. Okay? You want to suck
There's
my
a
dick?
big thing, man, about like this, about coffee and shit, about the caveman deal, is that like, you know, with people, we get wholesale accounts. That people call us. They're like, we want it, and so we'll put like one of our guys and go, hey, do that, and then they won't check up sometimes, and I'm like, it's like weird, like people that are of the digital age that are kids. You got to reteach them and go, no, dude, go shake that man's hand.
Go shake his
have a
hand.
coffee with him, sit down with him, and I want you in there twice a month. You need to check on these
It's
guys, make sure everything's
fucking amazing.
It's a trip, just polite manners, you know,
I
that
am
goes so
embarrassed.
long.
I am embarrassed. Sometimes I walk into places with a pocket full of fucking 20s, ready to drop a dime, and the treatment I get is unparalleled. The
Yeah.
salesmanship.
Yeah.
That listen, I don't want you selling me tape, but I'll tell you what I want you to do. I want you to come up to me and say, "Hi, my name is Tait Fletcher. If you need any help at all, come
I'm
get
around,
me and
yeah.
leave me the fuck alone because now I'm gonna hunt you." That's like that girl with the
Yep.
hot pussy. She don't chase you, you chase her.
Yep.
Same fucking mentality. I remember going up to the Fat Man store in Thousand Oaks, the Triple X XL, 3 fucking years ago, and I was 418. I had $1,000 cash. Nobody would talk to me.
Yeah.
And I said, you know what, Terry, let's get the fuck. And she's like, we came all the way up here. I go, these people have forgotten. I'm old school. I know what it is to sell. I know what it is to sit down
I've
and
done all
fucking
those
sell.
jobs. Yeah.
So, listen, I get an email from you. It's interesting. I email you back. I know how to follow up. I sold cars. This is cars. You ready? Hi, Tate, Joe Diaz, blah, blah, blah. My philosophy was different on cars. I push one time. Listen, I could get you this today. Nah, I'm not ready. My wife, no problem. Come inside. Let me give you a brochure card. Let me get your number real quick. Da, 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 da. Boom, over. The card had your address. So the first thing when you went out that door is I handwrite a letter. This is 1987, before I went to prison, guys. This is street.
You're in Colorado Springs?
I'm in Boulder. This is street. This is what I learned from street. This is street. Okay, this isn't, I didn't take a course. I was 23 fucking years old. I didn't take a course. I sold blow. I knew how to do blow. I know how to I know how to put a package together.
Yeah.
I don't know how to change a flat. And I don't know how to do this podcast, Lee. I love you like a brother. I don't know what I'm doing. But I tell you what I do know. I know how to leave the house at 8 and come back at 6 with $1,000. I borrowed it, but the point is, I came home with $1,000. What did you come home with? Nothing. And you know what? Tomorrow I'll go out and make 800 because I'll rob that chick across the street at the fucking thing. And you think I'm fucking kidding? I've done it 1,000 fucking times. I don't know how to do a lot of things, but I know how to rock and roll. And you know how to taught me how to rock and roll? I did by watching my mom. I bought a book on sales way before I got into sales, telephone sales in 1980s, and I read this thing front and back. And when I used to sell cars, so you leave, you get a letter the next fucking day. And 24 hours after you come in, you get a call. Listen, Tait Fletcher, Joey Diaz, I don't want to bother you. All I want to say is maybe you have a question for me that I didn't answer while you were in.
Right.
No, but thank you for calling. And when they come back, you know what they say to me? We don't even like the Subaru. We came back because you sent us a letter and you
Yep.
called us. We went to 6 different places. Nobody fucking called us or sent us a letter. And I'm very always thinking I want to do what the other guy ain't doing.
Well, and the thing is what I found when I came to LA is that it's so fucking easy to be better than the next guy because they're worried about different things. And I'm like, I want to be the best guy so I can make this guy's business the best. And like when you come with that attitude, fuck, and you show up on time, that's a wrap. You're the guy. You know, you got to be consistent and be polite, smile, look at people, shake hands. You're ahead of everybody in the world. Everybody. Because it's a trip. New Mexico's like that too. Live with a bunch of entitled motherfuckers.
And like, if you're the one guy that's not entitled, you're gonna rise to the top, man. Like, that's for sure.
I'm gonna tell you guys a story that I haven't told anybody. I think I told my wife the other day. Let me tell you how fucked up. And I don't feel bad about it. I feel like this is L.A.
Right.
This is L.A. So I sign up at Hegan's last August 6th.
Okay.
And I go to Hegan's the whole month of August, and I get knee surgery. And I take the month of September off. And they have a manager there. And he keeps calling me, when are you coming back? You know, we're worried about you. We're thinking, okay. And I go back there, and we start doing exercises. I go back there, and instead of me rolling and stuff, he'd make me drill, and he'd make me do all this hip work to strengthen my leg. Guy was a solid guy. I like the fucking guy, you know? I keep going back. At this time, Hegan was getting busy with his other school, and he wasn't teaching a lot.
Yeah, he was down at 8711 down in Inglewood for a little while, I think, at a stunt school.
Right,
He
a
was
stunt
try-
school.
Yeah.
So he wasn't, and I was going, and Dave was teaching. This guy, Dave, was teaching, and I'm just going to tell you about LA, people. So we're going back and forth, blah, 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 and I'm really liking this guy. I like the class. In fact, Hugh called me when are you coming to class tomorrow? They're real cool down there in Higgins in Beverly Hills. I just go on Wednesdays.
Yeah.
But I'm going there, and it's December, and one day I go, and this guy's not working at the thing no more. They go, I don't know what happened. So I'm working out with the guys. About 3 days later, my phone rings, and it's this guy. And he goes, how you doing? Blah, 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 blah. I go, good. And he goes, listen, man, I know I don't know you too well, but I'm in a really bad bind. And this is what I usually get to work with people for jiu-jitsu. If you give me this number, I'll give you this amount. And you know me, I counter rough it because I'm a Cuban Jew. And I go, I'll give you this amount, and this is what I want. And he did it, you know. And I completed the 10 sessions. Fucking great. We got along great. He taught me a lot of jiu-jitsu stuff. We'd do conditioning, and then we'd do jiu-jitsu to finish it. And then he'd stretch me out really well. I mean, fucking tremendously. You know, I got to say, if somebody came to me and wanted to refer him, and this went on, and I would call him and go, hey, man, how you doing? I go, listen, if you need cash. You go, yeah, let's do the same deal as last time. So there was one thing left, one training session left. And I went like 3 of them, 3 different times I went with him. And I, you know what? The guy was consistent. He did a great job. He was always on time. I think one time he was fucking late. But he gets a job. He says, you have to come here now.
Right.
He goes, you can't meet me over there no more. You have to come here.
Because did he get kicked out of that spot or something?
No, we were working out like in his
Okay.
living room. He had like a basement downstairs.
Right,
and then
right.
He moved, but then he got a job at this popular gym in town. And he went over there, and he called me over there. And one day he goes, hey, you have to sign this. And they wanted like fucking 3-something to work out in there a month. And I'm like, listen, dog, I can't do no
Like, I'm not the one.
I got a 2-year-old at the house.
Yeah.
This is Hollywood people here, you know. He's like, well, come on down. This guy hangs out here. And I go, listen, I don't want to see these people. This isn't my life.
Yeah.
This is not what I'm into. I'm into a dark corner with guys sweating on me. I'm
Yeah,
cool.
yeah,
I'm a
yeah.
man, dog. I'm cool. And he goes, all right. And you know what? He came to the store the other night.
Really?
And I said, what's going on? He goes, I have NHL people. And I'm getting $200, you know? And I'm like, that's funny because he did a movie thing for me. It's like when you do a movie, when we're shooting a movie and I
Right.
call you, you answer the phone.
Yeah.
The minute I'm off that movie and I call you, now I got to leave a message.
Yeah.
And it was so weird how he went from A to Z. Like,
Yeah.
I said, when are you going to come down again? And he goes, oh, no, I'm too busy with these guys now. I can't.
Yeah.
I'm getting like 300 an
Wait
hour
till you get
now.
that next phone call.
Can you fucking believe that? And I wasn't surprised. Lee, wake up, you fuck.
I'm up.
Jesus Christ. Drink some coffee. You look like a heroin guy over there. He's like this.
Just giggling.
Oh my God.
giggling.
He ain't giggling. Not at that point. He was nodding to the fucking side like I used to when I had the sleep apnea.
I'm worried about you driving home.
Oh, he's fine. He does it all the
Are
time.
we going to go up to In-N-Out and just neck a few burgers just to get some energy?
That's what he wanted.
I'll be here
to.
for a while.
He's lost
Good.
100 pounds.
Really?
100
Almost,
pounds,
yeah.
yeah.
God
96.
damn.
He's in jiu-jitsu now. We did kettlebell class today.
Awesome. Fucking right on, dude.
I'm trying. It's hard. Well,
It's funny that
You're
this
not trying,
fucking
you're
guy
doing it.
here would call me when we were on the road and would go, hey, man, come downstairs. Let me train you. And I'd always give you some excuse. And now the first thing I do before I leave my fucking house is go to that hotel webpage to see what type of gym they have and if they have a pool so I can bring my goggles.
cool, huh?
I remember I wouldn't even go to those gyms. I would walk past them and run away. Like, pew! I wouldn't even consider going to a gym in a hotel when I was on the road. Fuck you. Who goes on the road?
You know
to
what's
work
crazy
out?
is when you flip it and you're like, you get a little consistent. You're like, I don't feel good unless my blood is moving through my whole body. I don't feel good unless I'm in this fucking conversation and movement.
I work out Monday
awesome,
hard,
man.
Tuesday hard, and Wednesday hard, and Thursday I fly.
Right.
So I take the
Right.
day off. I
Well-
don't think I'm going to make jiu-jitsu tomorrow.
How bad does that fuck you up too? It's like if you're not working out and moving and you fly as much as we do,
Oh, my God.
you're a stiff bitch.
Yeah, you're stiff.
You're fucked.
So Friday I try to lift
It's
weights,
not good for
and
you.
Saturday I lift weights at the hotel. When I fly back Sunday, then it's business as usual. If I'm home on a Sunday, I'll go roll at 10 o'clock over there at VMAC.
Right
I
on.
really like it, though. It took me. I remember he used to take me to Alberto Crane's place in Santa Fe.
Yeah.
When with me, you,
Back
Ivan
in Longest Yard,
Salivary,
long-
during
yeah,
Longest
back in the
Yard.
day, yeah, yeah.
Me, you, Ivan, Maurice Smith, and Bob Sapp went
Yeah.
over there one day. Remember you were in the van with me one day when I called him Godzilla or King Kong?
Dude, and that's exactly when
the
we were
morning.
talking about like what he is in Japan. He is like King Kong incarnate. He's like he is that to Japanese. It's like there is a big black fucking like that is, and that's who Bob Sapp is. Fucking huge. Like he is like a behemoth of a dude. They look at him and they're like, they think the city is getting attacked. And they love him. He was like, I got bobblehead dolls, keychains.
He had everything.
He's like, they got dildos. I'm like, they got Bob Sapp dildos. He's like, dude, everything. Watches, Swatch watches with his name in it. They marketed the fuck out of him.
Out of him. They did it.
It's
I'm telling you,
crazy.
it was crazy.
He maybe is the most marketed fighter there was. And then he had these cats. They were like feral or like they were like onyxes or something. They're like right outside of the jungle. Like they were bigger and they're fucking and they'd piss and shred everything. I was like, why do you have that in your house? That's a wild animal. He's like, oh, I love these things. They're great. All right.
Hey,
No, ocelots. That's what they were, I think. Ocelots.
it was great to have you on.
Man, it was
It's
good to
always
be
a
here,
great
dude.
Pleasure to see you. You're doing well. Every fucking movie I see you jumping through the air and getting shot. You know, it's fucking tremendous.
There's a big one coming out, The Accountant. You're going to love. It's Ben Affleck. And right when he got done doing Batman, Superman, he went on to that. And that'll be coming out shortly. And then a movie called Bloodfather with Mel Gibson. I got a little role in that, too. It'll be out in a little bit.
How was Mel Gibson with you?
He was fucking cool, dude.
Cool as shit.
Dude, you know, everybody says all that shit, and I always go,
No.
God help me if somebody takes a snapshot of me at the worst part of my life
No.
and passes that off as the total of my life.
No.
Because that to watch him work, that is a genius. Like, when I'm watching him, dude, I'm like, I would love to spend a week with this guy just talking to
He's
him.
badass. He's badass. He knows his shit. The director the cinematographer from our movie, Longest Yard,
Yep.
and him were best friends. Dean.
Okay, I remember Dean. Yeah,
you
yeah.
worked with Dean and him were best friends.
Yeah.
All the way that he was the first AD on Road Warrior.
Yeah.
So he has all those stories about them crashing the car.
Was that
and the guy
before Gallipoli, do you think?
Look it up. It was Mad Max, Road Warrior.
Mad
82.
Max was
82 was when they did
Late
Mad
70s,
Max.
early 80s, I know, yeah.
Mad Max was 80. Road Warrior was 82 because I just graduated high school. They know each other. And here's the funny thing, that way before all that stuff came out,
Was it Dean Semler?
Dean Semler.
Yeah.
Dean Semler. Dean Semler. Let's give him a round of applause. And he goes, I won an Academy. No, 82 films plus one. He would always say something to me. Dean Semler, ladies and gentlemen. He always made a joke about himself. But the one day I remember hitting him up early, and he was on the phone, and he went, hold on. And he was laughing. He goes, all right, I got to go, chap. And he goes, that was Mel Gibson telling me his racist joke of the day.
Oh, my God.
And what happened was, listen, man, who doesn't have a fucking friend?
Of course.
That calls you up and says, listen, I just drove by 2 fucking specks sitting on a wall, and you giggle, and then you see him a week later, and he's talking to his daughter's Spanish husband.
Right.
That happens. It's not that it's just that you're racially stupid like I am.
Yeah.
You just say stupid shit. I don't hate nobody. I don't hate
I mean,
nobody.
people go
Yeah.
for funny. They go for funny, and they don't mean to hurt anybody.
No.
You know what I mean? It's not mean spirited.
But somebody takes it out of context,
Sure.
you know, blah, 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 blah. And that's what happened to Mel Gibson. Anybody who's worked with Mel Gibson really knows he just loves, listen, for 3,000 years, here's how much we've changed. The Indians want the fucking Buffalo people to do that, right? The Atlanta people. You know who's never complained? You know who's never raised their hand in this society? And I want you to think, if I'm fucking lying, I'll give you $500. Polacks. When have you heard the Polacks go on national TV
Yeah.
and say it's over? Our generations are decriminalizing no more. How many Polacks does it take to squeeze a light bulb?
Right.
How many they got? When I was a kid,
I grew
there
up
were
around a lot of
books on
Polish.
fucking Polish books.
Yeah, dude.
They never complained one thing. The Indians, you can't do this. The Atlanta Brave game. The blacks, you can't do this. The Spanish people, now they're Hispanics. Everybody's always had a fucking beef. The Polacks have never said fucking Ugats. Nothing. You ever think about that shit?
Yeah, the
Never.
Irish.
They don't give a
everybody
fuck.
when they
They
come in the
disappeared.
country, man. Everybody. It's like I think there is that thing of like people like to complain, and if like it doesn't even matter if they really agree with it, they're like, there's something I could be against, and it's like you can't fucking make yourself a human by defining yourself by what you're against. That's fucking weak. You know what I mean? Go be about
Raising
some real
your hand
shit.
and writing letters. Lisa,
We got time for all that.
Have a great fucking weekend up in Toronto. I hope people
Huh.
show up to the podcast and
Thank
hang
you,
out
buddy.
with you, and they give you some edibles, and you get stuck in fucking Canada for a month up there.
Canadian Uber, you don't know what might
Canadian
happen.
fucking Uber. They'll take you to fucking
Fuck,
Paris.
pull
or
up on a
something like that.
moose.
When am I going to see you again, Tate? You'll be around? You at
Maybe
the store
tonight, dude. I got to work tomorrow and the next day, and then I'll be. Yeah, man.
I got a 10:45 at the store.
Tonight you do?
Yeah, 10:45.
Okay.
Do a little show tonight.